Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Louise Minchin and Dan Walker.
Our headlines for you today: Buckingham Palace remains silent 24 hours after the first broadcast of Harry and Meghan's Oprah interview. But in the US, friends of the couple rally round.
Their cruelty in going after Meghan was just outrageous.
A lawyer for Ann Secoulis, the American woman who caused the death of Harry Dunn in 2019, has explained why she is not willing to stand trial in the UK.
The daughter of the former Scotland, Manchester United and Leeds footballer Gordon McQueen speaks for the first time since her father's diagnosis of dementia.
There have been moments where I'm like, God, I can't believe the thing that gave him so much love has now so cruelly taken a lot of him away from us.
It comes as a parliamentary inquiry is launched today into the links between sport and long-term brain injury.
Good morning. Has scammers' success spread with the virus? Tens of millions have been stolen over the past year as fraudsters cash in on people feeling vulnerable and working from home. We look at ways to stay protected.
Good morning. It's a cold and clear start to the day across some southern areas. In the west, we've got more cloud and patchy rain that will travel east through the day, but later, more persistent rain and some strengthening winds arrive in the west, leading us into a very unsettled couple of days and nights. I'll have all the details later in the programme.
Morning to you. It's Tuesday the 9th of March. Our main story: the royal family remains silent more than 24 hours after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey.
In the broadcast, watched by millions of people around the world, Meghan raised allegations of racism and a lack of support from within the institution. Keith Doyle has more.
Viewers in the UK got to watch the full interview last night, and the fallout this morning is nuclear. The headlines could not be worse for the palace. Turmoil and crisis. They are no less forgiving on the other side of the Atlantic.
Tonight, Oprah's interview with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex just aired for the first time in the UK. Now Britain braces for fallout.
Good morning, America.
Despite being previewed, teased and dominating the news, the claims made and heard in the context of the full 2-hour interview are still able to shock. Claims that Meghan was driven close to suicide and that a member of the royal family discussed the skin colour of the Duke and Duchess's soon-to-be-born child.
In those months when I was pregnant, all around this same time, so we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
Throughout the interview, the picture painted was one of an uncaring and unsupportive institution, at odds with the image of being at the head of a multicultural country and commonwealth.
In America this summer, we just went through the Black Lives Matter movement and the killing of George Floyd. And what we see is when we see this monarchy, we see an institution that we revered. And now we find out that you guys have the same issues of racial and racism and systemic racism that we do in the United States. So yes, it does hurt us. It almost seems like a fairy tale shattered for many of us.
Overnight, there's been no comment from Buckingham Palace, which is sure to be reeling from such explosive claims by those at the very heart of the royal family. All eyes and the media spotlight is on here today to see how or if it responds.
Well, I don't see Buckingham Palace as being like the Kremlin, and on the whole, they're a very civilized organisation, to be quite honest. And I also don't think that they are likely to engage in a kind of war between two parties, which of course the tabloid press would greatly enjoy.
The Harry and Meghan love story was a fairy tale and brought young, modern vitality into the royal family. This interview has brought up real issues that can't easily be ignored: security, mental health and trust. Just a few years on from the fairy tale, and for Buckingham Palace, all that has turned to crisis management on an epic scale. Keith Doyle, BBC News.
And there has, of course, been a reaction to the interview from the White House, also former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Let's speak to our Washington correspondent, Lebo Diseko, who joins us from the US Capitol. And it's clear this conversation is going to continue for some time, isn't it? Morning.
Yeah, I mean, this interview aired last night here. It's been more than 24 hours since it went out, and still it is making headlines. I think by far and large, one of the biggest talking points has been the allegations of racism, particularly concerning Harriet and Meghan's child. I think that a lot of people have been asking what this says about race and race relations within the UK more widely, and how far we may have to go in the UK. I think in contrast to some of the coverage I've seen from the UK media over here, that Meghan and Harry did receive a fairly sympathetic audience, and also Meghan's experience, particularly as a woman of colour, has been believed. Also, when she spoke about her experiences or revealed that she had felt suicidal, that too has been by and large believed. This received record viewings. More than 17 million people tuned in to watch, and it has been streamed as well. It even, as you mentioned in your intro, came up at the White House. The press secretary, Jen Psaki, was asked about it at a briefing. She was quite diplomatic, tried to be quite careful in what she said, but just have a listen to her comments.
You know, Meghan Markle is a private citizen, and so is Harry at this point. For anyone to come forward and speak about their own struggles with mental health and tell their own personal story, that takes courage. And that's certainly something the president believes, and he's talked about the importance of investing in a lot of these areas that they're committed to in the future as well.
Also, somebody that spoke out in a far less diplomatic way is Hillary Clinton. She said that she was disappointed at the way that the royal family, the institution, had treated Meghan, and also spoke about the behaviour of the British press, which she called outrageous.
Their cruelty in going after Meghan was just outrageous, and the fact she did not get more support, that the reaction was, let's just paper it over and pretend that it didn't happen or it will go away. Just keep your head down. Well, this young woman was not about to keep her head down. This is 2021.
And I think that the reaction overall has been that this does not look great for the British royal family. One network repeatedly calling this kryptonite for them. I've spoken to a number of Americans who said, as was reflected in the report that we heard just now, that when Meghan married into the royal family, they thought that this was a family that was modernising and British society modernising. And the fact that it has turned out this way raises questions about where we are in the UK as a society now.
Leba Jaseko, thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you.
The American woman accused over the death of Harry Dunn would be willing to do community service and make a contribution in his memory. This is according to her lawyer. 19-year-old Harry died when his motorcycle was involved in a collision with a car near RAF Croughton in 2019. Anne Sakoulas, who was driving that car, later returned to her home in the United States and claimed diplomatic immunity. Her lawyer has told the BBC she won't return to the UK to stand trial.
This kind of an accident, had it occurred in the United States, would not be prosecuted criminally. So in the United States, these cases are only prosecuted where there is evidence of recklessness that rises to the level of close to intent. So drunk driving, distracted driving, or a hit-and-run situation, or excessive speeding. But there was none of that here.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.